Last year, students worked on many projects to celebrate our 25th school year.
To get more information about the history of our school, student leaders reached out to our first principal, Mr. Bill Langley, and asked him some fun questions.
Join us in celebrating St. John's Feast Day with this special segment. Now, without further ado, here is
Learning with Langley.
Hi, Principal Langley. We're in the middle of our 25th school year.
Since you were the first principal of St. John the 23rd,
we want to learn about your experience
and the history of how our school started.
How and why did you become the first principal of Pope John the 23rd?
Well, hello students. Thank you very much for reaching out to me. And I've been in 3 different Catholic schools as a principal. I had been a principal for over 30 years. I was in Las Vegas at the time. And had been at that school, St. Viator, for 18 years. And I was ready for a change and a new challenge. I had done a lot of work at St. Viator, but it was time to move on. And in November of 1998, this, I believe, is when the school started to be built. Maybe it was before then. Shortly around that time, I was notified, or I was called from the diocesan office that they were very interested in having me come, or they asked me if I was still interested in becoming the principal and to open up the new school. And of course I was, but I was under contract. And so I talked to my pastor, who himself was a former educator, and he was supportive. And my vice principal, who was the school sister of St. Francis, Sister Elizabeth, she agreed to step up to the principalship and finish out my year, and I could come to Arizona. I was delighted. So on January 2nd of 1999, I was in Seattle for my son's wedding, and the next day flew back to Las Vegas, got in a car, and drove into Arizona.
How long were you principal for?
I've been at my previous school for over 18 years. So when I came here and started the new school year, as 7 years, when I started my 7th year, I realized I had been a principal for 7 years at my first school in San Francisco, a second school in Sunnyvale, California, and my third school, almost 18 and a half years. I would be coming up on 40 years. So after 7 years at Pope John, made the decision to retire. My wife and I were ready to. We wanted to travel, and so I retired.
What was the first day of school like?
Wow, it was hectic. That's probably with all of the families coming together. You have to remember that, or you need to know that this school, the first school in 30 years built in the diocese, was going to be a unique school in the sense that 4 parishes sponsored the school. Usually a parish has its own school. For instance, you're in St. Bernadette's parish, it would be St. Bernadette's school. But for this school, at that point in time, Blessed Sacrament, St. Joan of Arc, Our Lady of Joy, and St. Bernadette's, all the pastors agreed to sponsor the school, and the school would be placed on the property at St. Bernadette's. That was the model then. And to open the school and to reach out to all those parishes to find all of the necessary, to find enough applicants to come into the school, it was a challenge because it was so new. It was hectic, but it was exciting, and the parents planned a huge pool party. So before school started, we had all the parents that wanted to came to this huge pool party with all the students, and so they could all get to know one another. And that was the start of what we were after: develop a community for the school, and to make it one. And I think at the time it worked. And so, as hectic as it was also very affirming. Also, the students had a chance prior to the start of the school to come and visit the teachers. It was an awful lot was done by the parents and by the staff to make it a very welcoming community for everybody.
How many students and faculty did you start with?
We opened this, I'm not sure about the exact number of students. We had double classes, 2 classes of each grade level, kindergarten through 5th grade, and there were somewhere between 30 and 35 students per class. I think a few were in kindergarten, and we wanted 35 students in each class. And with 7th, 6th grade, we had, I believe, 35 students. 7th and 8th grade, the numbers weren't really above maybe 17 or 18. It was very hard for 7th and 8th graders to leave their schools. Most of them had been in their current schools, whether it was a public school, a parochial school, or a private school, and it was very hard for them to change. And so the number, we were probably up in the 300 somewhere. But again, those students did very, very well. They took on the challenge of being in a new environment. The parents were so supportive, and we had tremendous parent involvement. And the motto that we had taken, that all may be one, from St. John's Gospel, we all believed in it. All of the parents were convinced that we had to have that attitude, and seeing to it that everybody would come together and take pride in what they were doing.
Did you get to see the building process of St. John?
Now, because I arrived in January, yes, I was able to see the school being built. It was, less than halfway along, but it was doing really well, and it also afforded me the time to find educators that wanted to come to the school and work there, and to work with them. And that was another part of it. I had my own office at St. Bernadette's Parish, and so because I had to meet with parents all the time, prospective students and parents, I had to interview teachers, got to meet with the architect and input my own ideas, and parents had suggestions. We were forming a school board. I met with the pastors all regularly for their input, how they were able to be supportive, what strengths they could offer as far as making the school available for all the parents and make them feel welcome when they came.
When was the last time you were on St. John's campus?
While I never technically came back to the school, I did go by drove by a number of times. I watched the gym being built, saw that from afar, and of course Facebook, social media and everything. I still was in contact with a number of staff members at Pope John whom I became friends with, and they kind of kept me informed as to the growth of the school and the changes. And finally now I'm in California, so you just move on.
Last question. What was your favorite part about the Pope John community?
My favorite part of the school, and it was community. It was working with just some wonderful families. We all had to work together, and the families from each parish. The school board was made up of parents in different parishes, the Home and School Association. That was a new dynamic for Catholic education at that time. And this fact that it did all come together, it just made for a great sense of pride in what we were doing and how it was going and building up the school, watching the school grow. By the time I left there, we had introduced a lot of new programs, and there was still a lot more to do, and I'm sure if I were to go back, I wouldn't recognize a lot of what was going on. But it was a wonderful experience, and I look back on it fondly. I'd like to send a shout out to some teachers. There are still some teachers on the staff there that were there when I was. And Marina Yurchek, your science teacher. I have a list here just to make sure I remember everybody. Jill Black, Susan Hawk. Susan Hawk was a parent in the school. She had twins there, I believe. Was a teacher's aide. I got involved with the computer lab, the library, and I believe she's the librarian. And Mary Hefson, school counselor. Again, she came in and worked with me and all the other staff members, recognizing the needs that students had and what strengths she brought to the program. And Karina Metis, who is the middle school religion teacher coordinator. She started as a third grade teacher at Pope John, and she was the first teacher I hired. I met her after church one day. My wife and I attended St. Bernadette's, and she wanted to come in for an interview, and she's still there today. So there's been a lot of commitment. You think of somebody that has stayed in the same position for 25 years, that's a great deal of commitment to the school and to the community, the parents, the children, students. And again, I am very grateful that you've asked me to share my thoughts. I don't know whether I've covered everything, but please, if you do want to hear more, or if you have more questions, I'll try to answer as best I can. I just don't promise to be able to do it completely. So again, thank you very much, and best of success with the plans for the celebration of the 25th anniversary of St. John 23rd Catholic School Community. Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Langley. Please know you'll always have a home here at St. John the 23rd.
Thank you for everything you did to start up our community.
And may God bless you.